Chapter 20. Sitting here in limbo. Sasabe at last. Finally the doors opened and the spiders crawled out of the can. The men from Michoacan took off to find their polero. Rico and I stood there on unsteady feet with no particular place to go. A dust devil whirled sand and trash down the street and threw it into our faces. The noise of the small desert town made up for its size, with honking horns, barking dogs, a policeman blowing a whistle, firecrackers going pop, pop, pop. The streets were hot as lava, but even so they were packed with hundreds and hundreds of mojados, making their last preparations or killing time. The only shade under a few spindling cottonwoods was all taken. From the end of the street, we could see the border. Trucks were backed up there, waiting to have their produce inspected for stowaways. Beyond the port of entry, the gas stations, convenience stores, and fast food places in Sasabe, Arizona, shimmered in the heat. So did the mountain range, spiny as an iguana's back, looming above the north and west. One peak in the middle, with square, tapering sides like a monument, stood much higher than all the rest. Those mountains are in the States, I said. We could get into them on foot from here. Rico made a face. Those mountains would spit us out like a hairball. I pulled out the map of Arizona. Babo Cuivare was the name of the range. The Babo Cuivare Mountains stood on the border and ran north. Their crest was the eastern boundary of the Tohono O'odham Indian Reservation. I was studying the map hard like Miguel would have. The tower mountain was called Baba Cuivare Peak. It soared more than a mile above the desert floor. Rico was frowning. He could see where I was looking. There has to be a dirt road on the Mexican side that goes around those mountains. All we need is one more ride, so we can cross into the Indian land where the hiking won't be straight up and down. I guess you're right, I said. How to come by that last ride, that was the problem. There were plenty of vans and pickups to be seen leaving along a dirt road, heading west toward the Indian reservation. But those vehicles were full of mojados who had scraped together the big money. We told each other there had to be people who lived in that direction, in rancheros too small to appear on the map. Some of them must come from Sasabe for food and supplies. We found several such people. It was easy to see they didn't want to waste their time with us. They would barely admit that they lived out of town. As soon as we brought up needing a ride, they shook us off quick. It was hot and our backpacks were heavy. Rico was red in the face and murmuring about the heat, the money being gone, and the trouble we were in. Something will come along, I said. We'll start walking from here if we have to. Too far, Turtle. We'd go through all our water before we even crossed the wire. Rico took out his frustration at a video arcade on an army of green shirted soldiers who blew up like squashes and bled red rivers when you blasted them with your AK-47. The machine ate peso coin like candy, but what could I say? It was Rico's money. 10 minutes later, along came a bare-chested punk 3 or 4 years older than us. I was shocked by the tattoo on his chest, a gory Christ with barbed wire for a crown of thorns and much dripping blood. For whatever reason, the punk had his sights on us. He had a rock arrow haircut, short all around except for a purple forelock that hung down nearly to the top of his nose. Apparently, he didn't know how stupid it looked, especially when he flicked it back, which he did as a habit. It was like the switching tail of a donkey stuck on his forehead. "What are you guys up to?" he said as he lit a cigarette. Money was written all over him. Silver nylon pants, snakeskin boots, gold chains around his neck, diamond studs in his ears. "Sitting here in limbo," Rico replied with a shrug. "Jimmy Cliff's song. You like reggae? Bob Marley? Who doesn't?" "Right on, mano. Stand up for your rights. What else do you like? Rap, metal, punk, pop? What kinds of CDs do you got in your backpack? I lost my CDs and my player in Nogales. Don't tell me about Nogales. I'm from Nogales. These days I wouldn't give you spit for it. Same goes for Juarez and Tijuana. So many migra. They sit with their trucks in view of each other waiting to pounce. You can't even use the tunnels in Nogales anymore, Rico said. Tell me about it. The punk flashed a tattoo on his wrist at us. It was familiar. A triangle of blue dots. What does that mean? I asked. Don't you know anything? Barrio Libre from Nogales? I've done it all. I've been a cholo, a ratero, a bajadero, but I have graduated. Now you're a polero? Poleros and coyotes are what you call us. We call ourselves gangsters. Gangsters? He pretended he was firing a machine gun, like the mafia. My name is Jara. Tony Jara. You can call me the Mosquito. The Mosquito put his cigarette out on a caterpillar that was crawling across the video machine. It made a putrid smell. Obviously, you guys are trying to go north to make some money, Jara said. How much do you expect to make on the other side? $6 an hour, I said. Doing what? He threw back his head to make his donkey tail swing. Field work? Jara spat at the caterpillar, which was still squirming. Some kind of Pancho Villa you are. How about you, Blondie? He said to Rico. Hoe the weeds also? Pick the lettuce? Clean the swimming pools. Ah, the gangster said, breathing out a long plume of smoke. The swimming pools of the rich. A real Zapata you are. What about you, Mosquito? Rico kidded. What kind of revolutionary are you? Where have you been? Even the stupid ranchero ballards glorify us these days. We are heroes to the Majados and their families back home while making fools of the Border Patrol. Aside from all that, there is the money. As a guide, I am paid $100 for every polo I get to the pickup point. How does $1,000 a week sound to you? Sounds like a lot of money, Rico said. Party, party, party. Back when I was a mule, I made $800 a trip. 3 trips a month. You two have strong backs. You could start out carrying, learn the trails as mules, then graduate to guiding, like I did. Only one problem, I said. If we get caught running drugs, we rot in jail. You'll rot in Sasabe instead. It's going to be a warm summer. Think about it. The gangster slouched on by. Rico had his head down, as if deep in thought. Then he slammed his fist on the video machine. Let's get out of here, he said. We followed a dry creek out of town toward a mesquite thicket, where new arrivals congregated and slept. All the while, I could tell Rico was getting worked up. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks and said, I blame my father for this. How? Why? Think about all those years when it would have been so easy. What would have been so easy? To move his family to the States. I could have grown up there and not have to go through all of this. He knew better. Too stubborn, that's all. I pointed to the mesquite that would be easy to crawl under. Nobody had taken it. Let's get out of the sun for a while, Rico. The heat is getting to you. You fight off the rattlesnakes. I'm going back into town. Just the thought of rattlesnakes made my throat tighten and my skin crawl. You don't need to scare me, Rico. I'm scared enough. Just like you. I tell you everything will be better. When? Tonight? Tomorrow? I'm not sure, he said. I'm going back into town. I'll see you later if the snakes haven't gotten you. I'll be here, I said. It was getting dark, the first hint of breeze beginning to arrive. When Rico finally returned, he looked better. You eating anything? I asked. I'm starving, but I got our problems taken care of. Here, have a cheese stick. You found us a ride? Better than that, I got us covered all the way to Tuscan, to my brother's. What are you talking about? How's that possible? I called him up. Ronaldo? Isn't that what I just said? I thought you didn't have a phone number. Rico reached for a pack of tortillas. Before I could say anything, he tore it open at the wrong end, opposite the plastic zipper. We wouldn't be able to reseal it. Rico hadn't noticed. Here, he said, giving me a tortilla, chewing on another. The phone number was supposed to be a last resort. I wasn't going to use it until I got Tuscan. Well, now is what I would call a last resort. I reached him. It wasn't easy, and he wasn't happy about everything that's happened. But he wasn't surprised. The important thing is he vouched for us with Jara's coyote. Who's that? I don't know his real name. He calls himself the Venom. What kind of person would call himself the Venom? You met the actual coyote, the headman. Through Jara, then some other guy. Where did you have this conference and do all the phone calling? Jara's motel room. What difference does it make? What have you done, Rico? I thought we were going on our own. It wasn't going to work. Isn't that obvious? How would we know unless we tried? Calm down, Victor. You'll see. We need the protection of a group, and my brother is willing to cover us. Did he say anything about a job for me? We didn't discuss it. Without a job, how will I pay him back? He wasn't worrying about it. Why should you? Have you forgotten? I have to send my money to my family. Paying back Ronaldo is the least of our troubles. First, we have to get there. I've taken care of that. You should be happy. I'm not. I'll pay back your coyote money myself. I couldn't let you do that. Try and stop me. Now shut up and eat. We're leaving in half an hour.